going to talk about all the great things that Catherine was describing in this presentation. We actually are going to cover the use case. We're going to talk about Nordic languages, but we also will talk about the 10 languages, soon 12 language deployments that the group here has with PayPal and has formalized it into the program, and how basically it works, and in particular how it translated into the Nordic languages case. And let me introduce the panel here. Julia Epifantseva, she's actually the mind behind the deep hybrid, and she was the one that placed deep hybrid technology with PayPal for a few languages now, and before that the ProMT system for other languages. ProMT is also the integrator for other languages that are used at PayPal at the time. So at the moment, so Julia is also going to talk about the integration and the API and all the good things that we discussed here yesterday. Now, Alon Levy, now he's wearing his Safaba hat on this panel, and they are the ones that developed and deployed the 3 Nordic engines under very tight timelines and very pressing requirements. And then Catherine is the client of all of these great things. And we're going to talk about, Catherine will talk about the rationale for the whole MT exercise in general and the Nordic exercise in particular. And I am with Relocalize, and I will talk about what it means on the receiving end of it when all these engines come to you and you need to work with them, post-edit, exercise, productivity, and actually give some feedback. So that's where we are. And the agenda is we'll do a case study overview, talk about Nordic localization requirements, engine deployment workflow in general. What does it mean for PayPal to have this many MC engines in place with all the sophisticated process that she outlined earlier? Engine deployment workflow from the technical standpoint, technical requirements, challenges and wins. The program has been in place for, Catherine, 2 years now, right? 2 years, the program 2.5 years, the program, the MC program has been in place. So what have we seen, what works, what didn't? And again, we're going to talk about a little bit about MC engines in general and about what made our Nordic program so successful. Productivity metrics on Relocalize side, on ProMT side, on Safaba side, and PayPal side, and overall summary and conclusions, where we feel we are and where we want to be moving forward. So from here, I pass the microphone on to Catherine.
So the Nordics case is a little bit different from the cases I presented earlier in the earlier presentation from the standpoint that it's a new country launch. It's no longer a maintenance release where we translate 15,000 words that we have to update and QA every 2 weeks. It's actually a brand new site of 1.5 million words that we need to be ready to localize. So it's a much, much larger amount of data. We also had some very drastic time-to-market constraints. So here, the PayPal rationale for using MT. So here, it's we wanted to decrease time to market and have better quality control. So more time left to inject PayPal voice and tone, use of consistent terminology, and direct communication with post editors. The Nordics project had very specific content. And one complexity of this project is while we only had approximately 3 months to translate 1.5 million words, in parallel to this, we had actually web dev teams and in-country content teams that were changing the content and that were also customizing all of the features for the Nordics market. So in fact, the word count was even much larger than 1.5 million words. So we used MT to improve the content writing, to improve the source, also running pilots with Pivot English, to detect coding errors and reducing bug count prior to alternate start. Here it was absolutely critical because, as I mentioned, the content was being rewritten as we were translating it. For also UI design to detect expansion issues, and for the Nordics, for next, what we have in mind is the translation into English of customer emails, and we actually want to do that for more than just the Nordics. So in this particular case, we had the added benefit on saving on translation cost for high volume projects. So PayPal MT deployment overview, 10 locales in production, US English, into and from UK English, French for France, Italian, Spanish for Spain, Russian, simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese for Taiwan, and we have Hong Kong coming up, Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, and we have several additional languages in the pipeline. So the content types are UI, online help, FAQ, error messages, customer support templates, user guides, and email. So the workflow, which will be explained much later in Safaba and other presentations, are SDL Idiom World Server, Idiom ProMT XLIF Connector, ProMT PTSD Server, and Safaba MT Connect. And the post-editing environment is Idiom World Server Desktop Workbench. So the PayPal Nordic translation requirements. So the languages are Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish. So in parallel to translating a brand new site of 1.5 million words, PayPal also has to maintain a smaller site, which is called PayPal Lite. So we have an existing mini site, if you like, for the Nordics that needs to be maintained every 2 weeks as well. And then in parallel, we have this brand new site that we were translating. So the weekly translation volumes of 17 plus words didn't allow us to use the standard human translation process. And since the PayPal Nordic launch also required translation of 1.5 million words, we needed to have a very robust system to actually allow us to handle these two release cycles in parallel for the Nordics. So the LSP to be selected for the job needed to have a lot of experience in post-editing various types of machine translation output and also providing MT engine feedback. And the project quality requirements were also higher to those of human translation.